Welcome to Homegrown in the Kitchen. Today we're going to talk about different ways to wash produce. One of the things that I get a lot of questions about is what happens when I'm actually washing fruits and vegetables? What am I doing? How important is it? One of the myths that's common out there is that if I wash my tomato, if I wash my strawberries, whatever it is that I'm trying to wash, that I'm actually removing everything that's on there, that I'm sterilizing it somehow. Really, the best that we can do in washing is take about 99% of what's there off. That's good if there's a little bit there, but if there's a lot and there might be some contamination that arrives in my kitchen, I am never getting to a point where I have a sterile product or a sterile food. There's always going to be bacteria that's still associated with this. So with the tomato, it's got a really smooth surface. With that smooth surface, it looks like, that I could rub stuff off, but actually, if you look under a microscope, they're really small little pits in valleys where bacteria like to hide. By running this under water in the sink and adding some friction, we will remove some bacteria that's there. So that's something that's kind of smooth that we're going to eat the peel of. A cantaloupe, converse to the tomato, has a lot of netting. In fact, a lot of places where bacteria can hide, and you can sort of visually see this. And it's important with a cantaloupe that we actually use a scrub brush. It'll remove more of the contamination that's there. And I can really get in there with friction when I wash it with this scrub brush, which I can't do with some of the softer fruits. It's really important because as I prepare this, I'm going to take a knife and I'm going to cut through this. Anything that's on the outside of it, I can push through inside the center of the cantaloupe. And as much as I like cantaloupe, it's really difficult for me to eat an entire cantaloupe in one serving. So I'm often pushing something through and then maybe keeping it in my fridge for a while. Moving over to something like a berry, this is a little more delicate. It's not the right type of surface that I want to use a scrub brush on as I'm washing it, because if I do, I'm going to really blow it apart. So I'll use this maybe even in this container, in a colander, in the sink, and rinse as much as I can get off. With something like berries, if there is bacteria there, it's going to be really difficult for me to remove it with washing because of those valleys and pits. A question that I get a lot, maybe surprisingly, is should I wash bananas? Should I wash a banana peel? Bananas have this nice protective layer on the outside. It does a really good job. It's not an edible portion of the fruit, so if there is some contamination on there, even through the peeling process, it's unlikely that I'm going to put it directly on top of the fruit. One of the other big myths or big questions that I get is about lettuce and leafy greens. The biggest one is really when it comes to like a pre-packaged leafy green, something that says on it, right on it, triple washed, ready to eat. Is it necessary to wash it again? In fact, our recommendations based on the best available science say no. There's nothing I can do here in the teaching and research kitchens to remove anything that might still remain on this better than what's happened before it got to me. In fact, the only thing I can do in my kitchen is actually contaminate it more. But that's for a bagged, ready-to-eat, triple-washed lettuce. When it comes to something like a head lettuce, absolutely, I want to remove the outer layers of this and get in there with running water and maybe a little bit of friction and start to remove any of the debris that might be there. Bottom line is, washing fresh produce is a good idea from a food safety standpoint. If there's a lot of contamination there, I may remove some of it. I'm really doing a good job taking care of any of the physical debris that might be there, any soil that's left over from the harvesting process, and I can remove a little bit of the bacteria, but it's not a step that I would want to skip as I'm preparing food in my kitchen. For more information, check out the website below. I'm Ben Chapman for Homegrown in the Kitchen.